So here is a question. When did ownership become a debate? Seems to me that since this AI debacle, we've been asking this very question. No, actually, we haven't been asking this question. And that's what's really irritating me. We talk about, the land grab by big tech. We talk about the IP theft and how it's all being justified by big government, by big tech, by the individuals who want to make funny videos. And it just comes down to the one true thing for me. It comes back down to ownership. And what's really surprising is that the very people who grew up watching the same things that I grew up watching are the ones thinking that this is okay. But understand something. If ownership is up for debate, then so is the meaning of theft. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that, shall we? All right, you guys, welcome back to Archie Story Lab. I'm your host, Arshel Branch. Now, you guys, we've seen the videos, we've seen the memes. I'm like anybody else, right? I'm a conservative. Like, we've seen those videos, right? President Trump in the F-22 crapping on the influencer when he took Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and threw them in a mariachi band video.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bull.
These are hilarious. When he took Chuck Schumer giving a speech and made him say things that he didn't really say. And even Chuck Schumer gave a whole speech on the Senate floor about why he knows it wasn't him. We talked about that particular video in Disclosure Day. And, as funny as these videos are, is this theft? And, when you think about it, I don't even really have to think hard about it. When you really think about it, you guys, it's yes. It is an obvious yes. Okay. And we have to stop asking. Words are shelf, just words. I feel like we should not have to ask the question because all the things that we grew up watching, okay, and we're going to go over some of these examples today, pretty much don't even have to ask us, is ownership something that we should just debate about? It kind of assumes that it should be respected, okay? Like, that's kind of how this is. And when you understand that, when you go through all the different examples that I'm going to give you today, you're going to see why, what President Trump did was kind of wrong. At the young man or woman who was making the Turning Point USA parody, as funny as it is, because it is hysterical, this is theft. At the people who want to make pro Candace Owens AI videos, as great as they are, my personal favorite is you don't know, no, but you know.
We don't know, no, but we know.
If you didn't see it, I would recommend check it out. I know the irony here. I get the irony. But if you're using her face and her likeness, then this is theft. And because it's so easy, so common for everybody to do this, okay, it's pretty much saying, because everybody can, it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a theft, right? Because of who the perpetrator is, because the outcome isn't as bad as fraud, because it's coming from the government, right? Or whoever the purpose, whatever the outcome is, this is what's deciding if ownership is real, if ownership really belongs to the person who says they own it, or if whether or not theft is a problem. And I'm tired of people focusing on whether or not the purpose, the government, or a, interesting individual who just wants to make funny memes. But no, the fact is there is a victim. There is a victim. So it doesn't matter if you just decided to use Candace Owens' face for a video that says you love Candace Owens. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. What matters is you used her face. Okay? It doesn't matter if you want to make videos that say we don't like the Democrats, as funny as they might be, even if it does rally the base. Doesn't matter, Mr. President Trump. It's still theft. Okay? If big tech wants to use the law to take the land of owners, no, that's theft. First one I want to talk to you guys about is an old cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid. It's called Liberty's Kids. Okay, this whole series. Okay, Walter Cronkite played Benjamin Franklin. I believe Annette Bening, she played Abigail Adams. This is a great cast in this cartoon series where you go into the reasons for why the American Revolution happened, as well as, I believe, the Battle of 1812. This whole series goes into the importance of freedom and independence. And in some of these episodes, we talk about one of the reasons why the Americans wanted to war. It wasn't just about taxation without representation. It was that even if you own land, the British could just come up here and take it. At bare minimum, to be better than the British, you had to respect ownership. Whenever the British Army would come in and just usurp your property, the Americans, to be different, what did they do? They compensated you. They asked you permission. They would take a beat. Mind you, what is this teaching children? Okay, what is this cartoon series about the American Revolution really teaching children in those particular episodes? What is it really teaching us? That If it ain't yours, don't touch it without permission. I mean, you can learn that from your parents. I got those lessons growing up from my parent. Give it back to your sister. That doesn't belong to you. I mean, from the household to the cartoons, you guys. I mean, my goodness, you're taught at a very young age. If it ain't yours, ask permission to use it, to touch it, because you don't have the right to just take it. That's Liberty's kids, okay? Another example that I want to talk to you guys about. Let's go with The Incredibles. Now, Liberty's kids, I can't say that everybody's seen this show. I feel like every millennial at least had to have seen it. But I know everybody done seen The Incredibles, especially the first movie. What do you get from this movie? Now, of course, you're seeing, oh, well, it's a bunch of superheroes that are told by the government that they can't be superheroes anymore. And so they end up being relocated and put into regular jobs. Of course, because Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, is so eager to be a superhero, he ends up working with the bad guy syndrome, obviously not knowing he's working with a bad guy. That's how eager he is to be a superhero. But when you're watching that movie, you automatically take the side of Mr. Incredible, Monsieur Incredible, if you think about Bon Voyage, the bad guy in the beginning of the movie. I mean, you instantly think that there's something wrong with society. The guy who chooses to sue Mr. Incredible because I was trying to commit suicide, you saved my life, and now I'm riddled with debt, and I wasn't supposed to have debt because you saved my life. It's your fault that I'm alive and have all of this debt. No, mofo, it's your fault you have all this debt because you're the one who jumped off a damn building, and you're going to be mad at a superhero who has all of these gifts, who had the ability to save you, and you're mad at him, and because it's his fault. And all of this damage was created. There was an explosion on the train, and we're going to blame the superhero. Not blame the villain, but blame the superhero. We're not going to blame Bon Voyage. We're going to blame Mr. Incredible for trying to save lives, for doing what he was born to do. And because society was pissed, the government was pissed. Now we're telling people who were given these God-given gifts that they are not allowed to be who they were meant to be. And you automatically take the side of Mr. Incredible. Why? Why do you take the side of Mr. Incredible? Well, for the same reason you took the side of the American soldiers watching Liberty's kids, because instinctively you know this is not right. They have no right to tell Mr. Incredible that he can't be Mr. Incredible. And all you really did was leave such a major vacuum to create a bad guy that becomes Syndrome. And what does he say? Of course, you guys, when everyone's super, nobody will be. Now, that quote in and of itself is up for a debate. People have had conversations as to what they think this means. And of course, I've got my own opinion. If everybody can, then nobody is special. That's really the idea. If everyone is special, then nobody is. The government just came up in here and said you're not allowed to be special, that you're not allowed to use your identity, your individuality, your God-given talents. Now, I know you guys are going to say Incredible sounds very different. This is not about land. This is not about IP. No, this is about the expression of the self. And the government just walked up in there and said that Mr. Incredible and other superheroes have no right to express themselves as they see fit, have no right to engage the world with their God-given talents because they say it's a problem. But what right does anybody have to tell me or Mr. Incredible that they can't be who they want to be? Again, this comes back to ownership. Either I have the right to decide for me, myself, and I, or I don't. Either we believe that ownership should be respected, or we don't. This isn't about who's trying to take it from me or what the purpose of taking it from me will do, whether it's for national security, the so-called greater good, or making funny memes, even if they are in my favor, because it's not fraud. Identity theft is not identity theft. What are we talking about here? Even the president of SAG was up on Capitol Hill. I call him Samwise because he played Samwise the Brave in Lord of the Rings, okay? Even he makes this argument. But essentially, we're talking about the value of Americans, of human life, and that every extension of the self should be protected and is owned by the individual. This is a question of individuality and the respect of every expression of said individuality. And that ownership of said individuality belongs with the individual. And we just kind of knew that, like instinctively, when you watch The Incredibles. Mr. Incredible should never have been told he cannot be a superhero. He has the right to decide for himself if he's going to be a superhero or if he's going to just be an average Joe. He gets to decide that, not the government. I'll give you another one, you guys. Let's talk about Pixar's Up. You've seen this movie. An old man living in his house. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, you just see him living in the house with his wife, right? I mean, they're young children. They fall in love. They grow up. They get married. They live in this house and they have dreams of traveling the world. And, this is a home, not just land. And then the developers come in, they're building up around him and building up all of these buildings, all the rest of it. And his house is just kind of smack dab in the middle between these big skyscrapers. And the developers come in and just want to take up the land. Like, they don't look at this house. They don't look at this man and see a man who is a widow, who looks at his home like memory and legacy, that to developers and big business, that this is just assets. It's just money for them. It's nothing more. Now, this movie doesn't speak against progress. And I don't want people to think that, progress is a problem or that progress is an enemy or that even developers have to be enemies or bad guys, right? It's not so much about that any more than AI is the villain. It doesn't even have to be about that, right? What this comes down to is that progress is no longer seeing human beings as human beings. They're seeing us as obstacles. And this is the problem. And that's what happens in the movie Up. That they are trying to buy this man out of his home that he spent years with his wife just so they can build another skyscraper, just so they can make another mall, make another building where they can make money off of more people. That's all this is about. And rather than walk away from his home, the man attaches thousands of balloons to pull the house off the land to go flying off to Paradise Island, wherever the heck he was going. I mean, I want you to understand how ridiculous this is, okay? Like, understand, this man was so determined to keep his home that he attached thousands of balloons, okay, to his home to go flying somewhere. Now, inevitably, the developers obviously get the land, like, obviously, because you just take the house. They're not after the house. They're after the land that it sits on. But in order for them to get the land underneath the house, they would have had to have gotten him out of the home. Look, we understand how real estate developers work. And rather than just let them take it from him, what did he do? He attached thousands of balloons to his house and went flying somewhere. Obviously, ended up with this kid who was a Boy Scout, but that's another conversation for another day. Fantastic movie. Up is a fantastic movie. In the first 10 minutes, this movie has you crying because you see this life that he's lived with his wife. And then the developers come in and try to take it from him. And again, you instinctively take the side of the old man because, like him, you don't just see a house in between skyscrapers, okay? You don't just see an asset. You don't just see possible profits, okay? You don't see revenue. You don't see that. You don't see this old man as a obstacle. You see him as a widow. You see him as a lonely man. You see him as a man wanting to keep his home. And you instinctively take his side. Why? Because something inside us is telling us ownership of this home should be respected. That his home that he had with his wife should be respected just as much as you felt the same way watching Bob, Mr. Incredible, in The Incredibles, that should have been respected. That you don't just get to tell somebody that they can't be who they want to be, that you can't just come up in here and take somebody's home because it's for the greater good. It's for economic growth. It's for funny memes. It's for fighting China. Like, you just can't come up in here and act like we don't already know ownership should be respected. From children movies onward, we are told ownership should be respected. As children, we're told by our parents, if you take something that does not belong to you, you a thief. Thou shalt not steal. I mean, people, this is biblical. I mean, I don't even understand why this is a debate. Okay. Now let's come out of the children movies. Let's come away from the cartoons. Let's come away from the series. Let's come away from the children cartoons. And let's talk about The Astronaut Farmer. Now, before I say anything, this is an underrated movie. Okay. This movie with Billy Bob Thornton came out years ago in the early 2000s, and it didn't do so well with the critics and even audiences because really it was not very plausible. The idea that a farmer would build a rocket that goes into space was so implausible that people really didn't believe it. But I would say in 2026, when you got flying cars, okay, we got flying cars right now. We got agentic AI. People build. I see robots in Dallas. Okay, I'm seeing robots delivering food out here. We got self-driving cars, and low key, there is a farmer who built a weather cannon in America. He built a weather cannon. He learned how to do machine learning and had access to scrap metal, and he built a weather cannon to disperse clouds to protect his crops. I mean, and guess what happened? Similar to the movie. Cops were called, people complained, the community complained because the sounds was creating shockwaves, shaking people's homes, and the police couldn't do a damn thing about it because he has the Second Amendment right. No, you can't take my weather cannon because I have the right to bear arms. couldn't take his cannon. Like, it's like, people, this is real life, okay? Look it up. There is a farmer in America who built a weather cannon to save his crops. That is real. That happened, okay? Now, knowing that that is something that happens in real life, let's look at the astronaut farmer. What is Billy Bob Thornton's character trying to do? Right? He served his country. He's got a family. All he's trying to do is achieve a dream. The name of the rocket actually is called The Dreamer. That's the movie in Astronaut Farmer. And who gets involved? The community says he shouldn't build it. The institutions, the government says that he shouldn't build it. The police say he shouldn't build it. Now, there are a few people in this community that thinks that he should just go on with it because, right, who the hell is the government to say that you don't have the right to use your labor on your land with your dreams, your ambition to build something that is your own, that you don't have the right to compete in the space race against the institutions along with other countries? Who are they to say that? It's not their right. Billy Bob Thornton actually goes on to give a speech in this movie about how somewhere down the line we forgot about what it meant to dream.
You see, when I was a kid, they used to tell me that I could be anything I wanted to be. No matter what. And maybe I am insane, I don't know, but I still believe that. I believe with all my heart. Somewhere along the line, we stopped believing that we could do anything.
Of course, the government comes out and says, yeah, no, you can't build. But I'm building on my land. I'm not asking my friends and neighbors to build it for me, so I'm not exploiting anybody else's labor. It's on my land, not anybody else's. So I can build on my land. It's my dream. It's my ambition. And if I fail, I fail. If this is my, ticket to heaven, like I'm not going to make the trip there. Okay, well, that's my choice. I have the right. Who are you to tell me that I can't? And like I said earlier with the other examples, you instinctively, take the position of Billy Bob Thornton. You take the position of the farmer. You agree with the farmer. Because why? Because his ownership should not be debated. This is his land. It's his idea. It's his labor. It's his dream. It's his money. Everything about it is his. But the government is saying he can't. The community is saying he shouldn't. But who are you to tell me that when it's mine? When it's mine. We talk about land. We talk about ideas. We talk about being dreamers. We talk about the self. Period. I mean, that's The Incredible specifically. This is really about the ownership of self and all the expression thereof. Every single last one of these examples, from Liberty's Kids to Up, to The Incredibles, to The Astronaut Farmer, every single last one of these examples, they don't question if ownership is real. They assume it is and assume that it should be respected. Mr. Incredible should allow it to be Mr. Incredible, not because the government says he has the right, but because the government acknowledges he has the God-given right. Developers shouldn't just be able to go up in there and try to take that man's property because they're throwing money at him. That if he wants to keep his house where he wants to keep it, he should be able to keep it there, and that should be the end of it. Instead, he takes such drastic measures to protect the home that the man goes into the air, up, and away with thousands and thousands of balloons because he could not protect the home where it was. Like, look what people are willing to do. In the middle of a conflict, the dang American Revolution, the soldiers knew that to be better than the British, at minimum, to be better than the British, we have to ask, may I use your property? And before you say no, just know I'm willing to pay. And even if you still say no, we'll walk away. I don't like it, but we'll walk away. In the middle of a war, they understood this. Yet we can't understand this in civilized time. Our whole civilization depends on us accepting and understanding that ownership is real and must be respected. Otherwise, we live in chaos. Because here's the thing. If I steal your car, it's theft. If I steal your wallet, it's theft. If I steal your identity for fraud, it's wrong. But if I steal your identity to make a funny meme that's even in your favor, now everybody got the thinking emoji face. Wait, what words? I don't even like, what? Why are we even debating? Why is this a question? If we continue to debate ownership, then theft itself has to be up for question. Oh no, identity theft is only a crime. Identity theft is only a crime if the outcome is negative. What? Oh no, stealing of land is only a problem as long as, it's only a problem unless the government or big tech throws money at you and forces it from you because of the greater good. What? So because of who the purpose, because the outcome isn't negative, this is not a theft. This is not thievery. What? What? Like, people, understand something. The product changed. The technology changed. But the principle of a thing did not. And all I'm doing is trying to remind us, for those of us who think it's okay to just take somebody's face, even if it is to say, I like Candace, or I like Trump, or I like AOC. I don't care if it's in the favor of your favorite actors, favorite politicians. Did you ask them? If the answer is no, then you stole from them. That makes you a thief. If I don't have the right to just throw money at somebody and kick them off the land, why does the government have the right to do that? Why are we questioning that because the outcome isn't negative or because of who the perpetrator is, that theft isn't theft? What? The government gets to just work with big tech to take land and build up data centers? Kevin O'Leary, hello. And you think you're the good guy here? No, mofo, you're a thief. And the sad reality, Mr. O'Leary, is that I don't think you know that. And really, anybody who's using this type of tech to make someone do and say things that they otherwise wouldn't have said or do, that doesn't make you the good guy either. It doesn't make you evil. It's just, again, it's so common. It's for the greater good. It's because everybody's doing it. It's because everybody can. For $30, for less than 20 seconds, you can go ahead and use somebody else's face, even to be pro whomever. And for that, it's not a problem. But the movies and stuff that we grew up watching would suggest otherwise. Now, I bring up all of this to say, you guys, is because I'm working on a musical. And let's be clear here. I wouldn't have a musical unless we weren't debating ownership, okay? I'm so fed up with the idea that ownership is being debated, that theft is up for debate itself, simply because we're in this situation with AI. AI is the catalyst. And so I just decided that I was going to work on a story. You guys know I'm a writer, I'm a playwright, and all the rest of it. And so I decided that I was going to work on a story. The name of the story, or at least the working title of said story, is Stars Over Steel. Get in the comment sections and let me know if you think I should change it. I'll give you some more details about it in later episodes. But this particular musical, you guys, is about a man who inherited land, particularly a steel mill, and big tech, along with local government, is working together to take this land from him. But it's not just about him. It's about affecting the entire community, a community that thrives because they have jobs. And it's not about jobs per se. It's about livelihoods. This is about marriages. This is about children, families, and legacies. And that because big tech and local governments could just come up in here and take it away from them, this is going to stir up a battle. Not only does it stir up feelings, but like the other stories, it assumes ownership should be respected. And like we do with the other characters, you tend to agree with the person whose ownership is being debated. And so before I go any further with my closing, I'm going to show you guys a clip from one of the songs that was written for this musical. It's called Forge the Steel. Let me know what you think in the comment sections.
He landed in his chopper, suit gleaming like a blade, offered silver for the mill where 3 generations prayed, threatened to bolt the gates, leave our families in the cold. But this iron runs in our veins, it's the only truth we hold. Grandpa poured the first heat, Daddy taught us how to stand, faith in God above the sparks that lit this working man's land. We are strong as our steel, we will not bend or break, fight the silicon thieves for our children's sake. Family and faith forged in this holy flame, no billionaire's threat will ever steal our name. Stand firm, stand tall, let the anvils ring,
ownership itself is being debated. And that's why this musical, and remember, I wouldn't have been able to write this musical if ownership itself weren't up for debate. The stories that make us inform how we think in some cases. Sometimes you forget those things because we're caught up in the moment. Okay. Why am I asking this question? Well, because the movies made me. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Archie's Briefings. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Definitely get into the comment section. I love you guys. God bless. Have a wonderful night. And of course, because it's me, Kepla.